host of Footballing Legends Today remembered Ray Wilkins following the former England captain's death at 61. England manager Gareth Southgate joined the likes of John Terry and his wife Toni, Frank Lampard and his wife Christine, Ferdinand and Dennis Wise for the memorial at St Luke's in Christchurch in London's Chelsea. Also present were former England bosses Glenn Hoddle, Hodgson and Kevin Keegan, ex-footballers Trevor Brooking and Gianfranco, and TV sports presenters Ed Chamberlin, Jim White and Simon Thomas. BBC Match of the Day host Gary Lineker also made an appearance at the service this afternoon along with Sky Sports presenter Chris Kamara, former Arsenal defender Tony Adams and Liverpool legend Jamie Carragher.Chelsea manager Antonio Conte, the club's chairman Bruce Buck and Dragons' Den investor Theo Paphitis also attended, along with ex-footballer Trevor Sinclair and Professional Footballers Association chief Gordon Taylor.Wilkins, who died at St George's Hospital in Tooting, South London, on April 4, won 84 caps for the national side and continued working as a pundit for TalkSport and Sky Sports before being taken ill a week before his death. Wilkins, known in the game by his childhood nickname Butch, played for 11 clubs and was on the coaching staff of several more. The former captain of Chelsea was described as an absolute gentleman and a fierce winner. Wilkins, who leaves behind his wife Jackie and children Jade and Ross, became the fourth player sent off while playing for England when he was dismissed in the 1986 World Cup finals in Mexico in a game against Morocco. As reported by Mail Online, Wilkins was living apart from his wife of nearly 40 years at the time of his death, but was believed to be close to patching things up before his tragic passing. According to the Mirror, he was given a secret family funeral near his £1.2 million home in Cobham, Surrey, attended by his spouse and children. In the months before his death, Wilkins had moved into a rented top-floor flat in Kingston-upon-Thames, southwest London, 9 miles away. A close friend of the family said Ray and Jackie had been having a tough time and he had been living away from home the last few months. But they were still in contact, and it was obvious neither of them had ever stopped loving each other. The couple were due to celebrate their 40th anniversary at the end of the year.His son Ross said of the secret funeral, "Everyone has their demons, but they'd found a way to deal with their problems. They were on the verge of getting back together, which makes it all the more tragic." During his career as a player, Wilkins won the FA Cup with Manchester United in 1983, scoring a memorable goal in the first tie against Brighton at Wembley, which ended 2-2. He also won the Scottish title with Rangers in 1989. Following his death, his family said in a statement, "It is with great sadness we announce that Raymond Colin Wilkins has passed away. We would like to thank St George's staff for the amazing work they have done to care for our beloved Ray. We would also like to say thank you for the many goodwill messages we have received from Ray's friends, colleagues and members of the public." Ray leaves behind his loving wife Jackie, daughter Jade, son Ross, and his beautiful grandchildren Oliver, Frankie, Ava, Freddie, Jake, and Archie. Among the tributes to Wilkins, Gary Lineker said on Twitter, "Deeply saddened to hear that Ray Wilkins has passed away. a wonderful footballer and a delightful man. It was a pleasure to have played alongside him with England. Fellow England footballer Terry Butcher added, he was just an absolute gentleman, but a fierce winner. And Sir Alex Ferguson said, Ray was a great football man who was well respected and liked by all who knew him. Wilkins enjoyed a playing career that spanned 3 decades, and he starred for clubs in 4 different countries. After retiring from football in 1997, he became a manager and coach, most recently at Aston Villa. He battled poor health including ulcerative colitis over the last few years and was given the all-clear after a double heart bypass operation last July. 2 years ago he checked into the Priory Hospital in Woking for a 5-week rehabilitation program after being banned from driving for 4 years for drink driving. Yet the popular former Chelsea, Manchester United and AC Milan midfielder continued to work in the media on a regular basis and was held in the highest regard by everyone in football. He had carried out media duties on TalkSport and Sky Sports, performing as a regular pundit on both platforms shortly before suffering the cardiac arrest. Born in Hillingdon, Wilkins came through the ranks at his boyhood club Chelsea and made his first team debut against Norwich City at the age of 17 in 1973. He would go on to play 179 league matches for the club over the next 6 years, having been appointed club captain at just 18. After relegation in 1978-79, Chelsea accepted an offer of £800,000 from Manchester United, and Wilkins was on his way north. He made 160 league appearances for the Old Trafford club and helped them win the FA Cup in 1983, defeating Brighton and Hove Albion in the final. In 1984, United sold Wilkins to Italian giants Milan for £1.5 million, and he spent 3 years with the club before a brief spell at Paris Saint-Germain and 2 years at Rangers. Wilkins returned to London in 1989, spending 5 seasons with Queen's Park Rangers and amassing over 150 league appearances. He also represented Crystal Palace, Wycombe, Hibernian, Millwall, and Leyton Orient in the twilight of his playing career. Wilkins was called up to play for England by Don Revie in 1976, making his debut against Italy during a tournament in the United States. He quickly became an established name in the team, helping England qualify for the 1980 European Championships, their first finals in a decade. In all, Wilkins won 84 caps for his country, captaining the side on 10 occasions and scoring 3 goals. Finally and tragically, Ray Wilkins found a battle he could not win. He had faced many challenges in his life and handled them all with style and no little class, but the fight to beat alcoholism was one too many. But the memory of Wilkins should not be tarnished by one failure. There were too many successes for that to be the case. He was mature beyond his years. He always was. That is why back in 1975, Chelsea manager Eddie McCready made an 18-year-old Wilkins his captain. Listen to recordings of interviews Wilkins gave then, and it was like listening to Wilkins of recent times. Eloquent, well-spoken, sensible and above all honest. A born leader. Nothing intimidated him. for some reason, he was given the nickname Butch, a label he despised. It was a curious moniker. Wilkins was all about culture. About accurate passing. About vision. About creativity. He was very much the definitive old head on young shoulders. When it became obvious to everyone that Chelsea were in severe financial troubles in the mid-70s, it was Wilkins who suggested to the squad they take a pay cut, was given the approval of the players, and went to the late chairman Brian Mears with the proposal. It was gratefully accepted. At the age of 19, Wilkins was already an England international, and it was the start of a 10-year career with the national team. In May 1976, in the bicentennial tournament in America, Wilkins was outstanding in a 3-2 win over Italy. He looked completely at ease and went on to win 84 caps for his country. In 1979, Wilkins moved to Manchester United. Faced not a bit of it. He handled the move as he handled all matters football in his life, with class. It was the same when he moved to Italy in a £1.5 million move. FEW British players have made a successful adaptation to life in Italy. Wilkins was the exception. He loved the professionalism of life at the Milanello training centre. In a matter of months he learned the language. His cerebral approach to football appealed to the demanding Milan public. As Milan struggled, Wilkins moved on briefly to Paris Saint-Germain and then to Glasgow Rangers. It is easy to become embroiled in the tribalism that goes with playing for one of the old firm clubs. Wilkins refused to do so and made that clear. Eventually he moved back to West London to be a player and then player-manager at Loftus Road. Wilkins played his last game in 1997. Such was his love of involvement on the pitch, he finished his playing days at Leyton Orient. He was assistant and caretaker at various clubs. QPR, his beloved Chelsea and Millwall, helping to take them to the FA Cup final of 2004 when they lost to Manchester United. He was also briefly on the coaching staff at Aston Villa under Tim Sherwood. Throughout an illustrious career, an admirable quality in Wilkins was that he never lost touch with the fans. They all thought they knew him, especially at Stamford Bridge, where he had season tickets. Before and after a game he would shake hands, as if he knew them, mingle and in no way act in a prima donna fashion. His football brain was one of the sharpest. He learned from the likes of Ron Greenwood, Dave Sexton and Jerry Francis. His analysis as a television pundit was always frank, but never disrespectful. He made his point without any savage verbal attack on a particular individual. Everyone makes mistakes, and it is not fair to highlight errors in a nasty way, said Wilkins. Of course he made them himself, and had the ignominy of seeing red while playing for England against Morocco in the 1986 World Cup. My own fault, I should not have reacted in frustration at a decision, he said after picking up 2 yellow cards. He always faced the inquest, whether it was a setback or a disappointing defeat with club or country. Ray Wilkins was never one to hide. He fronted up, as they say. However, when the boots were taken off for the last time, it produced a scenario for which Wilkins could not prepare. He could not handle not playing, not being part of that active involvement. Alcohol, the enemy of the player, became his friend. Anyone who knew Wilkins would tell you he was always one strong character, that he faced up to every problem. Anyone who has a near or dear one who has suffered from alcoholism will tell you it is one of the most evil of addictions. Wilkins would have ready access to alcohol, no matter where he went. It was for so long part of the culture in this country. And he succumbed. He would drink to socialize, but then it became a dependency. To the outside world, there did not appear to be a problem, but inside, Wilkins had demons he could not master. Finally, Wilkins met an opponent he could not beat. The football world had lost a warm human being who knew and loved the game.